Well, I'm Jean-Luc.
I'm Kool-Aid.
I'm you.
And this is Triple D and D.
Yep.
And we are back like shirts that don't fit. Alright, guys? So you know
to
how
the
it
front
is.
of your closet.
Hey, what's up, guys? I need my receipt money. Okay, so you know how we do it. This role is brought to you in part by nerds. We're everywhere.
In your homes, in your cars.
You're probably sitting next to one of us right now and don't even know.
Kool-Aid is about to roll the D20.
Here we go. 17.
17.
I rolled it last time, I believe. Yeah, baby.
Son of a...
hot hand.
No. All right.
Hand.
You know what?
It's a critical hit. I hit him.
Heart of the cards here, man.
I hit him.
It's not a big deal. I'm going to get higher than that.
him.
This is easy.
No, you
6.
did. You did not.
Well, go ahead and go first. I wanted to know what you had to say anyway.
That's what's up. So I threw the spear through Jean-Luc's chest. For everyone, this episode, Jean-Luc is a little sick.
A little under the weather.
So you're going to hear a more sexier version of Jean-Luc, as it sounds like
it's
very white.
Deeper. Raspy.
So hard. All right, so before I jump into my topic, I was at the 7-Eleven up the street from this location, which is a secret location in a rebel base in a hood somewhere you're not familiar with.
Lots of rebel bases at hoods, so you'll never find it.
So I'm at the 7-Eleven. I'm picking up some mini cheese and some cheese mix. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop you right there now. Mini cheese?
Mini cheeses, bro. Baby.
Gotcha. Those little wheels. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. All right,
cheese,
sorry.
Really, Jean-Luc?
All right,
you
sorry.
don't know mini
sorry.
cheese?
You know what? Sorry. I have seen them.
I was about to say, as a universal traveler, sir, I'd expect you of all people.
I'm sorry. I have seen them. I just wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking about that. Like the little and I don't know why. In my head, I was like little Velveeta slices that you like unwrapped, and I was like, why would you even for your tiny sandwiches? I don't.
Yeah, you know he under the weather, baby. We ran. Come on, drink some more of that honey concoction. What's over there in that cup? Indeed. Okay, so I'm getting my mini cheeses and get some stuff, get a little water, and I'm paying. And this gentleman walks up behind me. Now, when I look at this guy, I immediately am filled with anger, and I want to punch this guy, and I want to explain to you why.
Was it Kanye?
No.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it was not.
I'm sorry.
It was not Kanye. I feel like if it was
just
Kanye,
been hearing a lot of that.
I would just be like, "What's up, man? Are you okay? Blink twice.
Right?
Blink twice if you need to come through and hang out with us."
I can give you a hug, man, but I can't be seen giving you a hug, man.
I want to hug you, but I don't know what that's gonna look like for the both of us. You know what I'm saying?
You got to take the hat off first.
All right. Oh man. So, basically, when I graduated from college in 2013, I super excited, obviously.
Yeah.
Made it to the end. I'm like, damn, you know, I didn't think I could ever make it this
Life
far.
has begun.
Yeah, right? So, as I'm there, I'm dressed in I believe it is a short sleeve, button-down gray shirt. Really nice looking gray. Actually, no, take it back. It was a long sleeve gray shirt. I was really nice looking, and I had a fresh pair of Dickie shorts. I had a fresh pair of black Vans. I mean, all blackouts. I mean, I was clean. It was all fresh clothes. That fresh, you just got another bag smell, out of the cleaners and everything. And so I'm standing there, and I'm stoked. Like, I finally made it.
Yeah.
And this guy works for the school at the time, and he's standing there, and I walk in, and I have my
guy. At the 7-Eleven?
No, yeah, this is the guy.
Okay.
I saw him.
It's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Years later.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was years later. He worked at the school. And he was there, I guess he was helping with the whole proceedings of the graduation. And dude was like, I don't know if we can let you walk. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, you got those shorts on. That's a little, he's like, it's a little disrespectful, don't you think?
No.
And so I
it's a little warm in here, don't you think?
Dude, so I stop, right? And before anything comes out of my mouth, at that moment in time, I mean, back in 2013, I am thinking about all the sleepless nights of all the chemistries I've done, all the calculuses I had to eat, all the everything whilst being a nerd and partying and trying to keep everything together and get as close to this 4.0 as I kept. For a dude to tell me you think it's a little disrespectful to walk across the stage with shorts on, I'm already kind of a chunky dude to begin with, and shorts are my main mode of transpo. So this guy is literally, and so it's weird because everybody else is looking at him, and I'm looking at him, and it's literally my day. It's
where'd you graduate?
I graduated from El Centro. I got my applied sciences.
So again, you're in Texas.
Dude, you in Texas? It's hot.
You're in Texas.
It's hot. And so, and mind you, inside the auditorium there, it was super cold, but it was still like, dude, it's super hot outside. Are you crazy? I wear shorts all the time, anytime. Only reason why I'm wearing pants now is because my shorts are dirty.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, right? And so, he almost stopped me from walking across the stage to the point where he was like, I don't know, we're going to see if this is okay. Like, he was that guy. He was like parking lot Pam type situation. Like, he's like, you know, like, what do they call those people? Like, what is it, Barbecue Becky and all those guys? Like, he was like, seriously, he was that guy stopping everything, and he was like, wait, we got to see if it's okay for him. And everyone's like,
sir,
what?
Sir, I think you're going to need to see if it's okay for you to try to stop me when I walk across
the
stage, because that's what you need to ask.
Yo, like, real talk. So, that guy, and people had to come and override this guy because he just wasn't going to let it slide. And I was like, dude, is this really happening?
Yeah.
And so I make it across. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you weren't with me sleepless nights trying to crush down 3 levels of calculus. Where were you at?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and step back. So I made it across, and then after I made it across, afterwards, it was so sad because I remember seeing him in the auditorium still, you know, with thousands of people walking around and this. And I remember seeing him in passing after that, and him just scowling me, like scowling me down, like,
should give him like just a little wink and nod.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you know, could have given a little, it's all good. It's all good, baby. It's all good, baby. Ain't no problem. But no, it was just nuts. And then I see him, after that, I just saw him. This is the second time I've seen him. This is the only time I've seen him since then. So I just saw him, he's standing there, he's ordering something, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, I'm on my way to do another episode of an awesome podcast with my friends. And here you are, ordering what looks to be tuna fish in a can. Looks like your life.
Why would you order that?
You know what I'm saying? Looks like your life took a dive. And we're over here turning up. So yeah, screw that guy. Alright guys, so sorry for that long detour. My topic for today is drone racing. Do you believe that drone racing is the next NASCAR for the nerd community? Now before
Interesting.
Exactly, right? Now before you chew on that, let me throw a little bit of extra spice. Just something you can think about, right? Luke Bannister, 15-year-old drone racing pilot from the UK. He won the inaugural World Drone Prix in Dubai, right? Let's see. He was able to earn $250,000 of the prize money. The total prize money purse for first was $1 million.
Jeez.
So you are 15 years old, and you just got a $250,000 check.
I mean, I imagine.
To run a race. So this is, and that was held in
I can't imagine.
Dubai, of course, the United Arab Emirates.
Of course it was held in Dubai.
Of course.
Everything great and expensive happens in Dubai.
Of course. So, I mean, at this point, these events are happening way more frequently. Obviously, this is a worldwide thing. My thing, do you feel that, I mean, how fast do you feel that it's going to become the NASCAR? Because it's out there. It's not like it's going anywhere.
I mean, here's the thing. It sounds totally feasible for it to be a huge industry and sport. I would watch it. It sounds more interesting to me than NASCAR, right? You can set up situations where they don't have to go around in a circle and a circle and a circle because there's not a living human inside of it. Yeah. So things can be a little edgier.
They're super. I mean, have you seen some of the actual tracks that they put up? So I'm taking it you don't watch any drone racing.
No, I don't. Which is, it sounds super interesting.
So
but
let me drop like some small little bit something, right? So just a little for people who don't know anything about drone racing. Let me give you
I am you today.
Okay, right. Let me give you something.
You
like
are
an
me.
Intro, like a light intro.
We're all together.
So it's called FPV drone racing, which is first person view drone racing. So this is the thing I always dreamt about as a kid, which is nuts because now it's here.
And of course it's first person, right? You're not going to have a third person top down.
Exactly, right? This guy. So FPV drone racing is a sport type where participants control drones equipped with cameras while wearing head-mounted displays showing the live stream camera feed from the drones. So you are literally
plugged. You got a helmet
you
on.
You are the drone, right?
Interesting.
So it is nuts, bro. It is nuts and a half. It's like you're playing. It's VR. It's VR. It's VR.
How big are the drones?
I mean, the drones are baby size. Like, I mean, you can.
They're
the drone's about. Let me see.
No larger than like a say a
We're
foot
talking
long.
something like super small, yeah, like something like that.
Yeah,
like,
so about a foot long.
Yeah, nothing too huge. Okay. But I mean, you're thinking about like so imagine this. Imagine like an LED field obstacle course, if you will, and it's like playing GTA almost. Like the racing, like you're in it. You're just first person. You're doing the jumps. You're doing all of that. It's you. You are doing this.
Interesting.
You are drone racing.
I guess too, it's 100% on how they try to sell it, because you're gonna have to figure out your cuts in between the first person view, and I still want to see exterior shots of the cool stuff.
They do. So you have to go watch a video.
Okay.
So it's like that. It's
okay.
Literally
exactly what once you said it. It's exactly what I want it to be.
Exactly. So with that being said,
a decade.
It only takes about, you say a decade?
A decade.
Only because Jean-Luc is like, a decade, I'm already there.
And this is super, narcissistic of me, but it hasn't touched, like, at all my field of view. And if it hasn't touched my field of view, I imagine there's a bunch of other people who aren't nerd-related at all who hasn't touched their field of view.
Jean-Luc says, if his eye does not roll across it, like Mordor is up the street, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just
all right,
saying,
Sauron, I get you.
For it to be able to be like a NASCAR level sport, I would say probably a decade of
has not laid upon it. Look at that.
And again, it would be that sounds far more interesting to me than NASCAR.
Dude, yeah.
Is it considered an electronic sport?
Of course it's an e-sport.
Okay. I mean,
now here's
normally you think of like a video game or something when you think of esports, at least for me.
I thought that esports stood for electronic
It does,
sports.
which is why it totally does. It's just normal.
A drone would totally be an electronic item, right?
Right. I mean,
you are wearing VR headset to control the movement. Well, no, control the direction of said thing, and that thing is live streaming other. Yeah, that's an esport. Drone racing is an esport. If you do not consider drone racing an esport, then we need to talk about the longevity of this relationship.
So then, if this is completely separate, but if they decided, right, that like, you know what, in 5 years NASCAR's gonna look, you know what, this is really dangerous. People die doing what we do. We're transitioning. We are having cockpit like car setups that like will make your car into a drone. So basically, you have nobody on the actual field, and all the drivers doing the same thing they would in basically a VR car elsewhere or off to the side. Would it then be an esport, or is it still the sport that it always was? Like, would it have to transition its title? It's completely. It doesn't really matter, but it's just so curious about.
It would actually have to become an esport. You're no longer. It's an electronic sport.
You're no longer piloting it.
Yeah.
Directly.
At this point, you are. It is now an esport. Like, you're not piloting. You're not being shrunk down to microscopic size and jumping inside of this truck and flying this truck.
I want to see it 20 years down the road when they have like pod racer type drones out there.
They have. There was I believe it was an Italian or a Pakistani or Israeli inventor, who just piloted a pilot drone, like he's physically flying a drone.
That's cool.
So I was like,
that's cool.
There's drone bikes and things like that. So those things are coming, But I feel that the actual sport itself of you piloting one would be considered.
I'm gonna have to see, because there's so many things that I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm gonna have to.
I'm surprised you haven't looked this up already.
I'm gonna have to look this up and see this.
Field of vision.
See in my
Sauron. How did you not see this?
I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's not a huge and there's not like worldwide, but for it to take over, at least in America, the sport that is NASCAR, or to become as big as, I'm saying at least a decade, like for them to create that base. I'm not saying it's not there. People, like, there's a tendency, society is seemingly getting nerdier. So I think there's totally going to be a market for it.
Dude,
I would watch the hell out of it.
If you've seen some of the drone races, like, they take whole stadiums. Like, some of the drone races take the stadium because you could just fly all around the stadium now. You see what I'm saying? So some of the drone races, like, when you watch some of the videos, they'll have drone races in empty stadiums, and the entire stadium itself is the track. So it's like flying up into the like rafters area, down into the bleachers, all around, like all of that bleachers. Excuse me, I don't know where I live at. I was like, what world am I in?
Man,
seats. It's like, it's nuts.
All I can think is I can't wait till it gets to a point in, like, after it's big, but a point where they attach, maybe not weaponry, but more like a Mario Kart type aggression system.
I mean, they have that at the moment. They have some that shoot pellets. They have some that shoot paintballs at people. They've got, I mean, hell, they use the drones in China to burn the stuff off of debris off of the thing. They have flamethrowers.
Well, I'm not saying they don't have it. I'm just saying, like, does the sport use that? Because I'm just saying races are great, but races with flamethrowers are greater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, once drones become robot wars,
I know,
like old school,
right?
Like, and you're just damaging people's drones. Can it still fly? It's going down.
Right, but you can still have a race mechanic to it, like Mario, like, right?
I'm gonna just throw a banana peel at your drone. I hope it get caught in the propellers.
Well, if you wanted to, you could have it be like a program, like a CPU thing, where, like, it's based off of you going through certain spots in the race. Like, if you go up to the left a little bit, just like in Mario Kart, if you swung up to the side and hit that little box indicator, something popped up and let you use it. So then it's it registers.
I can see that if you. When you get a chance after this and you watch a video, you'll see something that mirrors what you're saying. Like, oh, you flew through this ring, this activated this thing, and like this wall comes up, and then all of a sudden anybody's because I mean at that point your drone's dead.
But
your drone is done.
No, that's
like,
the thing, and that's why I'm thinking maybe if it's a thing like, okay, you just got the red the red shell, you're gonna fire it. You fire it, like, it sends out, like, I don't know, like the old laser tag stuff. If it catches anything in front of it and the other one indicates, something happens to that. It may not drop, but it may give it, like, stop in place and give just a little spin. And if there's any sounds, it can do a little woo 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 woo.
Like, so it's funny because I understand
those kind
what
of
you're
things.
saying. The only downside to that is it's the destruction of the craft itself. Because you think about watching Robot Wars. Robot Wars was great at the beginning when everyone had the backstory in their bio, but then, like, when they got to fight, Sir Kill-A-Lot just dropped a piece of metal through your thing, and, like, now it's leaking juice and it's this and that, and so it's like, yeah, that's cool, but it's like, how long does that really last? Like, can you really still even have a race mechanic? It's like, oh, you just destroyed the propeller on this thing. It's done. That's the end of this race. Turn this race off and go home.
Well, and I guess, I mean, depending on how much money it makes, it may be cost effective. Like, your drone's destroyed, but if we're talking it's not large, like, at the end of the day, you can have that replaced.
Yeah.
Like, relatively, like, little if you're raking
run through drone bodies then. Because, like, okay, so check it out. Let me throw this at you. The cool part about drone racing, I think is awesome, is it's better than NASCAR, is the fact that it doesn't cost that much for you to get in.
Yeah.
Let me throw these stats at you. Give me 1 second.
Well, and to compare it to NASCAR, think of how many tires they go through. In this situation, the drones aren't just the car; they're more like the tires. Like, the tires are expensive, but you can get a drone for the price of a NASCAR tire, and a decent drone at that.
You probably for a NASCAR tire, you get several drones. Because check it, on a budget, right? You can get into drone racing for as little as $200.
Yep.
But winning races will cost more, right? Obviously. If you're not into assembling your own drone, then you can purchase a ready-to-fly racing drone like the Blade Inductrix. Now, mind you, dude, some of these drones are nuts, man. When you get a chance to look at them, you're like, man, they're great. So the lowest end is $200. So let's say there's a drone race, and you're like, man, I need some extra scratch. You know what I'm saying? By extra scratch, I mean cheddar, Gruyere, Havarti, money, USD, cash. So I need some extra cash. Boom. I'm going to throw some $200 down. I'm going to throw my drone in the race. Let's get it.
I would love to see a team racing mechanic, like a stable. Like all right, every team has three racers that they've got, and you have each one can have a variant on their same type of drone or whatnot, but have something a little bit different about theirs that gives theirs a slight advantage versus the others.
Like a different part of the course.
Yeah,
relay.
Yeah, and if you did situations where you paid out not necessarily to the individual but to the winning team, so that then they split it among themselves. Mm-hmm. Right now, however they do that, so they've got to figure that out, especially if only one of them is even good.
The Drone Racing League is official, so they got, there's tryouts already set up, right? So they're sponsored by, like, Swatch and a lot of the other time companies, some other time companies, like some big people here. And so it even says it right here. Like, if you check it out, it says, become the next official Swatch pilot with a $75,000 pro contract. On the line. The line. Try out now with 2 additional DRL contracts. So imagine you're a kid and you're like, dude, I want to get on. But the crazy part is these kids aren't just kids. It's grown-ups too. It's everybody.
Yeah.
And so, like, just to name a couple of the partners right now, you've got BMW, you've got Disney, obviously. You got the U.S. Air Force, you got Seagate, you got Fox Sports is on, Swatch is on, Cox, the guys who own Tom's Warner and all that stuff.
Here's where I'm at more.
ESPN.
Here's where I'm at with more and more on things like this. If you love your children, don't give them a ball. Give them a controller. Right? There are sports for them without them getting injured.
Yes.
Right? They may need some wrist braces in a couple years, right? Keep things frosty, make sure they take care of themselves. Like, there will be other injuries that appear, right? Like hand and arm related, sure. But at the same time, like, you're not getting hit by a 250-pound man.
Yes. Which, mind you, if you watch
or lady,
because if you watch any interviews from, like, people who play, like, professional football, like, they say it's like getting, and I quote, like getting in a car wreck every weekend.
Well, I knew kids who who sustained injuries in middle school, like back out in Oklahoma, because sports was a lot of what all they did. Like, no guy tore his ACL. And I was like, well, great, you're never playing sports again.
Right.
Here's this controller.
Which you should have had previously. Nuts. So you're saying in the next 10 years...
I think it is totally possible for it to become as big a sport as NASCAR, but I'm going to tell you it takes a minimum of 10 years to become as big.
So you're saying in the year 2028, drone racing will then be as big as NASCAR?
Possibly. I don't think... What I'm saying is I don't think it is possible for it to be as big as NASCAR before that time and date.
Ooh.
Like, I could be wrong, and that'd be great. There's something else for me to watch out there. But...
it's out there. You ain't watching it.
Well, you're right. That's fair. I need to. I can't judge any.
Come on now, Jean-Luc.
It needs to find its way.
In my head, the production value isn't what it should be,
right?
And I know that's just in my head. But
I'm gonna let you slide because you sick.
I'm gonna need I'm gonna need them to have sport level camera shots, like.
You
close-ups.
haven't watched
and
any
I
of
haven't.
these videos.
I haven't, and that's why I'm letting you know what I'm gonna need. I'm not saying it's not there.
It's like
they're never recommended.
I'm also going to say,
listen to anyone who's in the drone racing league right now. Kool-Aid believes in you, and I think that you're amazing. Please forgive my cohorts, Ian and Jean-Luc, because they're ignorant.
And I want you to know, I'm not talking on an international level. I'm talking in America. It will not be as big in America. For at least another 10 years.
Clean it up. Put your gloves on while you clean
it.
Put your gloves on.
That's where I'm at with that. Like, America's not going to look at it, right, the same way.
I want to believe that as Americans, we're not just a bunch of dumb monsters. So, if you're not one...
We're not all dumb.
I'm a dumb monster.
Just like, oh, me American, give it to me. I'm like, hi, I'm Kool-Aid. I'm American as well. This guy doesn't speak for all of us. Just want to throw that out there. It's nice to meet you.
And he's got a nice hat.
Him got a hat. Give me your hat. Me America. Sorry. So, Jean-Luc says 10 years.
What's your estimate? Yeah, what's your estimate?
Honestly, I wanted to say a little less than 10, but not less than 5. I'm thinking that in the next 5 years, as
Interesting.
Okay, so basically the generation that's in power right now are millennials and Gen Z, right? And that's like everybody after us and us. So we're out there, and I'm like, at this point, we have been exposed to all the technology, and we're kind of on this track where it's like, what's the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not kind of, we are on that track as technology continues to grow.
Mm-hmm.
We get desensitized to all the old stuff, and we're always looking for the newest things. We're pushing. So eventually, as you see the social structure change with the way people are cool with, sports in general, the politics, the way people are treated, the injuries and all those things, the younger gen and us, you're going to consistently see us moving further away from that, trying to find something that kind of has what we want.
Agreed.
Even with with the controversy with the NFL that's been going on, their numbers have been not steady as they used to be.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously. So you're realizing that this power structure that's been there for this long isn't really that stable. You realize that it can shake. So I'm not saying like you said, I'm sticking with closer to 10, but I'm saying that it could happen in less than. I feel like it could happen about like 3 years shy of that probably. Fair. And then all of a sudden you're looking up and you're like, what? Because you think $200, okay, cool. But you can have a team of your friends who get together and go, we could actually afford to put a drone out and split this money. Which one of us is the best pilot? Like, that's happening already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine when you guys were 15, you weren't throwing down on a pizza. You guys were throwing down on a drone and then coming home with a check. And you guys split it. But you and your friends split $250K 4 ways.
I want to make sure that, like, I know you guys are on the same team. I don't want to, like, I'll need that for the excitement for me. It means more if I see there's a little more drama there, like, and you see how there are connections between players, like, made there that, like, create drama for you. And that's why I'm like, I need you to be, I know.
Jean-Luc's like, listen, I understand the sport, but the drama, I need to feel the grit.
And I'm with you, things have got to change. You're never going to continue to entertain everybody with the exact same thing forever. Like, growing up, it definitely felt to me like football was more America's pastime than baseball. The era of baseball being the bigger sport, at least in my, like, how I saw things, like, growing up in, Oklahoma, a lot more people watched football. Like, and I just think that we are bound to move on from it, like, from football. Yeah. I'm not saying it won't always be there. There are other things, and we are now expanding what it is we consider a sport.
Indeed. Which I consider Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic and Pokemon an e-sport, because you play it online as well.
I would disagree with you there.
I know you are. Because I threw it out there. I was like, I'm going to roll it to the table too. Throw this too. He's like, no, it's not an e-sport. But it is a sport of men.
I'll give you it's
and by a sport of men, I mean a sport of humans.
Humans.
You know what I'm saying?
And whoever. And lots of everyone.
Yeah, humans. We're all humans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People are like, what do you mean mans? I mean humans.
Gotcha,
hey,
gotcha.
You gotta be ready. Let's be light. Let's be light. Let's be light. Harry, I'm there, simple. Yeah.
We just lost 50% of the fan base.
I know, right?
We don't have.
Right? He said mans. No, I said humans. I was trying to throw it out there. You gotta hear the whole joke before you like.
Here, why don't you take my gloves to clean that up?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Well, you've given me something to look into, man. Like, I am interested to. I will let you know next time briefly what my thoughts are after saying it.
Yeah, please. I need to know that your gaze has now fallen upon the lowly sport of drone racing. Indeed.
And I don't watch that much outside of me playing a video game. So
this is the only sport I watch is me sporting. Bad. All right, Jean-Luc.
Well, I guess what I wanted to talk to you about and ask you about is one, like, when did you first start reading comic books? And when you were younger, if you did when you were younger, did you find that there was more of a negative stigma towards it than there is today? for me personally, I feel like there's been a shift in the perception of the kind of people who read comics, like, exactly. And what that means. But I don't know.
Oh, first of all, that's a great setup as always, Jean-Luc. Come in with some magic, so. Appreciate it. Indeed.
I did bring some magic.
Got the magic. Dude, man, I started reading comics at 4 years old.
Excuse me. Damn, 4.
Yeah, what was it? The first comics I was reading. I stumbled onto Iron Man, Silver Surfer, and Wolverine. Like Wolverine and the X-Men. So, which I really credit to my path in school because it was because that I wanted to be an engineer, a mechanical engineer. Just immediately, I wanted to build because I really wanted to build a hoverboard like that as a 4-year-old. I remember, dude, that was my main mode, right? It was like I was like, dude, I can build a hoverboard, and so I was like, well, if Iron Man can do this, then Silver Surfer does this.
Right, and he did that in a cave.
Yeah, right? Like, I can do all this, And so, from there, it just was always an off and on, like, okay. There was a moment in time where I wasn't picking up comics, and then, like, from 4 to, like, 7 or 8 or something. Mm-hmm. And then from, like, 8, I was, like, buying comics again and stuff like that. I mean, you're a kid. You're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Going to Chuck E. Cheese and falling off my bike somewhere. Who knows? And so, yes, definitely. Not only a stigma to those who read comics, but the whole nerd energy has changed completely.
Yeah, very much so.
I've been a nerd since the zygote, man. Like, so, back in the day, like, growing up in the 90s, the early 2000s, like, that shit wasn't cool. And the thing was, it was cool to me because I was a nerd, and I loved the escapism. I loved the use of your brain. I loved the pure creativity and imaginative powers of taking like your real life and saying there's science here and there's reality and practicality and logic and sprinkling this magic of sci-fi and other things and kind of expanding on that. And not just that, everything that nerds are. So
I think maybe what helped, and this is just me spitballing here thinking about it now, what helped with that is the generation that our parents were. They were the generation that saw Star Wars in theater.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that made an impression. So I don't know, I assume, but I don't know about you, I saw Star Wars multiple times, all 3 of them, at a very young age, repeatedly. Like, and I think that made a huge impression, having that to watch as a child, upon the nerddom. Along with, of course, Next Gen being at its height, and Star Trek being huge in the 90s, in the late 80s.
So you think, okay, so yeah, you go with that energy, but even in that, that was still niche. That was still mad. I'm still with hidden village community because
you were a Trekkie then. There was a word for it.
Yeah, or somebody was calling you a geek or a dweeb or you're this or you're doing this and this. And none of the stuff that if you're reading, hell, even in the nerd community, there were certain titles you couldn't be reading or you would be considered even further off into the fringe. I remember getting shat on because I was reading Guardians of the Galaxy back in the day.
What?
Because it was B-sides. It was like the B-side of the tape. Bro. Nobody was reading that. Like,
it was still there.
The Avengers was B-side.
Yeah.
The Avengers was hella indie, and nobody was messing with that. And, if it wasn't your main Spider-Man, if it wasn't the Hulk, if it wasn't
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, your main hits, even in that, you're weird. You're like, I was reading Lobo, and dudes was like, what? I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
But as a kid, I was reading Frank Miller's Hard Boiled at 8 years old though.
Damn.
I may or not be the best definitely it has changed because now I don't want to say it's hot and trendy, but it's also now
it's a little.
No, it is. No, I don't want to say just that. It's that, but then it's also, how do I say this? There's a mainstream culture of one-upism, if you will. And I feel that in pop and references and things, you have to kind of be abreast on certain things. Even if you don't know what's up, you have to at least be able to pose.
That's fair.
And look like you know. So a lot of stuff that's hot now, people are like, oh yeah, I read Spider-Man, or oh yeah, I'm into X-Men, or oh, that nerd stuff that I used to make fun of you about all the time. I have a coaster set of Magic the Gathering cards at my but you don't even play.
Ian and I have a really good friend who back in high school would oh, you reading comics? Nerd, right?
Right.
Now, man is up to date on everything going on in Marvel.
Just about.
Like no joke, like far more than me. Like he's in it. Like
yeah, I'm like
I don't know. There's at some point I don't know what that moment was, but at some point there was a shift and it was okay. It was okay.
Dude, not
and
only was
cool.
it not okay, it was like almost a necessity because now, and don't get me wrong, I want to be like those old nerds. Back in my day, y'all wouldn't. But it's like now you can go to Walmart and there's a Nintendo 64 T-shirt.
Yeah.
With the original, and it's like cracked on purpose to look old school.
And again, they're selling to our generation.
Dude,
so.
exactly. So I mean, like the thing is, but the generation, the people who are buying that too, aren't just us. It's the same people who were making fun of you for doing it, and they were like, "Oh, like, dude." I was so nerdy though that it didn't bother me because it was just a badge of honor, and I think the further that people pushed me away into the fringe, it gave me more power. Like, it validated me just that much harder. So, oh, are you out on the lunchroom tables playing Pokemon? You damn Skippy. I've only got 15 minutes to my next class. Yeah, I'm trying to get it around. I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, and I'm doing this in front of everyone. I'm dressed like... Are you cosplaying? Yes, I am.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Was one of those things for me that... Sometimes you would be surprised at the people who collected and played.
Oh, man.
Right? Like, people weren't always talking about it, but as soon as you found out, there was a low-key, like, underground, like, people, at least in middle school, who played it. Like, no one openly played it, but, yeah.
But then people played it. You
yeah,
know,
no.
The competition is still there. I mean, I have a story of playing at a Toys R Us mall tour for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I beat a guy. And this guy was so aggro, he was like, "No, you gotta take this to the parking lot." And I was like, "Are you gonna kick my ass? Like, for real? Like, this dude was the most hoodest dude ever." Homeboy was like, "Nah, dude, you gotta run that back." So when we get to the parking lot, because I obviously have to leave the Toys R Us to get out there, I'm like, "Am I gonna get my ass kicked?" We literally walk up to the back of this blacked out Suburban, and it's a bunch of dudes in the back, and it sounds like there's a fight going on. And I literally walk around to the back. There is a wooden dueling arena that has been cut out by these guys, it's sitting on the back of his trailer, and everybody's over, and it's like a full-on fight. And these guys are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Against each other.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Fight Club.
And I'm like, oh,
you better tell nobody about this.
Gee. Like, I'm thinking this guy is about to whoop me to...
He about to shin your ass
or
in Shadow
shoot
Realm.
me or something, fam. I'm like, well, here we go. This is what I get for being awesome and having a mouth. And then it's like, nah, dude, you're going to play that. And we played, and I won again, and it was like, you weren't going to rob me? Because I totally felt the robbery was going to happen.
I think it was... There was a... Like, more people were into that because of Pokemon, I think. Right? It was just, my opinion... It was really hard to find people who wanted to play with their Pokemon cards. That was my experience. Like, and at the end of the day, I felt Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a better game. It's a lot closer to Magic, and I realize that's probably why I feel that way.
Because Magic was great.
Yeah, but
So yeah, go back to what you originally asked.
There was
you like fall off into the abyss. I'm like, wait.
Well, it's connected though. Like it was nerd stuff then. It was around the same time I started reading. Probably I started reading probably about 11 when I was 11. I want to say, it was Wolverine comics for me.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what I collected. I would read others. I remember this is bad, but well, it's not the worst thing in the world. But my mom, there was a period of time I was homeschooled for about a year and a half, and I went with my mom a lot to Barnes & Noble. And when she would go off to find her books to read, I would just go sit in the comic book section and pull out one of their graphic novels and sit in a chair and read it.
Okay.
Like, and that's how I read a lot of the comics at the time. So when I started buying single issues, like I knew what I wanted. I started.
Wait, stop. How is that bad?
Because you're not supposed to read the whole thing. It's not a library.
Jean-Luc, if you don't get your ass out of here, bro. I thought you was about to say you stole some shit. This dude talking about, I sat there and read the whole Jean-Luc, I need you to stop. I need you to stop right now.
I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
It's not what it's there for.
This dude just said, I read the whole thing. I feel guilty that I should have paid.
I read so much for free.
I'm like, wait for it. He stole it, right?
These are the things that tormented me as a child.
He's normal. No. This dude. I kept it for longer than a day. I shouldn't have kept the library book, I should have never kept the book.
Well,
This guy.
And it was a time, I didn't really read a lot of books. Because the things I preferred to read were comic books. In fact, so much to the point that in 5th grade, I was able to convince my 5th grade teacher to let me do a book report on an alien graphic novel. Like a thick, like Dark Horse Aliens graphic novel.
Worked.
It did. No, it did. And I explained, part of my argument was nothing anybody else is doing has, the amount of, visual art, in it. No one else, no one has any of this to comment on. And this, not only do I have words, I have more than just words and story, right? I have visual representation.
Using his bard powers to his teacher.
I once made an argument to that teacher that action figures were a better use of your time than reading a book. She did not like that, but I was like, think about it. You can create your own world if you want to. Sit down, push over your desk a little bit. Now you have a fort that you've built, and you can have all these different characters you want, and you can tell whatever story you want and create whatever environment you want. And at the end of the day, a book is always going to be the same. You can read it 100 times, and it's still going to be the same words on that page. I had a lot of kids with me on that, and she had to change the subject fast. But
bro, I'm your teacher right now, and I'm like, this dude is really hitting me with these powers right now, and I'm like, is he starting?
If only I had done the homework they wanted me to do.
I'm right. Like, dang, is your persuasion up that high? I'm listening. I'm thinking of the teacher listening at a young Jean-Luc, and I'm like, keep going. What that was. Keep going. I'm listening.
I didn't know anybody else that read them. No,
Wow.
no one else at my school read comic books at all.
What?
It was kind of a novelty for them that I did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anybody. My brother had read them when he was younger, and he was very nice about buying me some of those comics, for Christmas, or he got me the first 3 issues of the first Wolverine comic book.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I don't know where they are or any of those Wolverine. They're in a a sealed Tupperware thing in a box somewhere.
Yo, I hope your brother not listening. I'm sorry. And if he is, bro, Jean-Luc, sorry, man.
No.
He was a child. What did you expect?
I was never gonna hold on to it.
What
forever.
did you expect?
They're safe.
They're somewhere.
Well, and I had,
ground.
they hopefully. I had the good thought though. I never read them. I wasn't until later, and this is a good free plug. This isn't fix anything. Till Marvel Unlimited. Really love Marvel Unlimited. Worth your money. But yeah, I finally got to read those comics a decade later when I got an iPad and Marvel Comics.
Nice.
Or Unlimited. But
get on it.
Yeah,
it's free shot. Marvel Unlimited. You guys could totally sponsor the show. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and jump on there.
You know what it is, and I guess it's just the difference is movies. It is Iron Man, and probably Dark Knight. It's probably 2008.
That opened the door for everyone.
Because we had graduated in 2008, and my buddy was still razzing me then. A couple years later, 2 of the best comic book movies ever appeared.
I was about to say. For me, it had to be Spawn and Blade. I think once Spawn had hit, it went from...
so bad, but so good.
Yo, it was so bad and so good. It went from, this isn't an action figure anymore, this is on screen.
Yeah.
And so I remember having the Spawn action figures. I remember always having to defend myself for being weird, or why are you always doing this and this to society? And I'm like, dude, do you want me to come into this place and burn it down? I mean, it was always weird to me. It's so I'm doing well in school. I'm sociable. We're kicking it. I'm doing all this stuff, but this isn't enough. Why are you always... So when it went from that to, hey, the thing that you're always on is on a thing, and I saw this thing with my family.
Yeah.
And I remember from that...
No, I have point of reference.
Yeah, people started asking me questions about, this and this and this. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, it's this and this. But you're right. I think it wasn't until Iron Man...
they were shown they were sold on the possibility, and they were willing to suspend their disbelief. They were sold in a way they were finally willing to suspend their disbelief for these stories.
And they're like, okay,
because Dark Knight and Iron Man sold it to them in a way that both Hulk movies, the last Spider-Man movie up to that point, like, hadn't. The Daredevil movie didn't. I do enjoy it, but it didn't.
Shit was garbage.
Right? There were several movies that came out that just weren't good.
No, but wait. Shout out to Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton, the best portrayal of Eric Banner.
I did like his
better.
Bruce Banner.
Way better. I would have loved to see that in Avengers.
But the problem with him is he often is cast in a role where there's a duality to him, where he's the Incredible Hulk, or he's got Tyler Durden in him, or
he can't just be
he's a twin and one of them's good and one of them's not in Oklahoma, there's a great movie out, I don't remember what it was called, that he did in Oklahoma, where he plays a set of twins.
I thought the movie was called Oklahoma.
Go to IMDb, you'll find it. But he does a lot of things. Sorry, tangent about Ed Norton. Does a lot of things that are characters that have a duality to them. That just interesting, which I think is one of the reasons I liked his Incredible Hulk so much.
It was great. Yeah, no, you're right. I would say Iron Man, X-Men, even with X-Men's problematicness,
2000s X-Men, and 2000s Spider-Man.
Yeah, because
or
dude,
2001
you got to think about that because I remember skating to Lowe's Theater off of CD Place.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to that. That's no longer there. I caught the train, and then after going to Lowe's CD Place, I'd watch these movies on the Solo.
Man, I got to Texas just in time to get a good couple years of that place.
Oh,
dude,
definitely.
Beautiful. Well, it wasn't beautiful, but it was great.
It was no, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was for real. It was great. Like people knew you. You could skate there. The food was decent. You go in, you watch your movie, and then afterwards, I would get on the train and go up one more station to Mockingbird Station and walk right up to Keith's and go buy some comics.
Nice.
I'd hit up Cold Stove's Creamery, get some ice cream, and I'd just be sitting there myself.
Make a whole day of it.
Just kicking it, dude, super hard. And I'm like, man, this was a Friday. You know what I'm saying? And then I'd go home and catch a train to the crib and go play video games and stuff. It was like...
How old were you?
How old? I was like 15?
Okay.
15?
Okay, I came out here 16, so all right.
15, 16? Yeah, 15, 16.
I hear people talk about, being 12 or 13 or even 14 and being able to do that, and I'm just always like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I was out in the middle of the country, and the dirt was red. That's what I had to entertain me.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, it was wild. Because I remember that, the DART, shout out to public transportation. I mean... The DART just being the bus, and then
when you're running on time, yes.
Yeah, dude. Shout out. Well, I mean, when you're a kid, you don't have any time. You just, hey, this takes me here.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait for my uncle to come pick me up and so and so. So yeah, no, man, it was great. At the age we were able to catch the train and go places, just go wherever. So.
Man, had I been in the city, I don't think I would have had nearly as much freedom. My parents were like, sure, go out of the house all you want to. There's nowhere to go. You'll be back.
You'll come inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you were right. I'm going to say the 2000s. I would say the 2000s is when it became, this is that. Because now, the one-upism, everyone wants to be in the know. Everybody wants to be relevant. So now, I saw that movie. Or I know what you're talking about. I mean... There's people who didn't know jack shit about X-Men that were like,
I'll see that new action film.
Right.
Yeah.
People were asking me like, Deontay, so this and this and that and this, and I'm like, wait. You're asking me about this, the same thing that you saw me reading this entire time we've been friends, and you gave me trash for it. I mean, full on trash. Now you want to know who Storm is and where she comes from, and I'm like. I'm willing to let you know, but there's just a little bit of resentment inside.
Now you want to know.
You know, and it sucks because now everybody's a nerd. So, and it's like you're full on nerd, and everyone's like, oh yeah, Zelda, love that game, blah, blah, blah. Do you, or did you just go to Urban Outfitters and buy the stuff that they're selling you? You know, that's just me.
I've had so many people look down on me for that, but I'm never going to lie about me not having played Zelda. There's no point.
Yeah.
Right? They're gonna taste that, but I'm going to be like, right? That was a good level.
You're like, get out. Yep. But I mean, like that. So yeah, I would believe that the change happened in the 2000s, it's hot now because there are a lot more nerds in power doing things. And so I feel that people reckon with the power so they don't get left behind. I.e., like I was talking about the guy who was sitting next to me at the vending movement who knew nothing of what was happening, but he was there.
Yeah.
And that was just a testament of what's happening. Like, you know?
So for me, just to sum it all up, I'm going to lock it down to 2 years. 2000, and you know what? 2000 to 2001 to let Spider-Man get in there. And then I'm going to say 2008 to 2009. 2000, like the first set of years or dates, is what brought those kind of movies into people's view. Is what made them think, oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, I see who those people are. Well, I've heard of them. I haven't necessarily seen the movie, but at the very least, I've seen the trailer for the movie.
Exactly.
Right? So it brought that into people's forefront. Then it took them about 8 years from there, but about 8 years later, they were able to sell the majority of the public on it being a worthwhile investment of their time.
Consistently. For the next 20 years, probably.
We'll see.
I mean, they've got 10 years planned of movie to unload. So you got movie.
They're going to have to change some things. Just like we were talking about with the sports, they're going to have to change some things.
Because eventually it's going
to continue to draw people in.
Yeah. Because me and my uncle were, shout out to my uncle, DJ Cockney O'Dyer, Dallas DJ. World renowned. He's everywhere.
I don't know why, but in my head, I heard it with an Irish accent. Cockney O'Dyer.
My mind went there.
Nice. We were just talking about frequency and how things die off, and they're so hot, and they die off. It's a frequency. It's resonating from a frequency. People are able to glean something from that. You know, it's a specific energy. After a while, after you've heard a frequency so much, you become used to that frequency, and then it has to change for you to receive that same level of initial energy that you got from that. And so it's kind of the same thing. You're on a wave, you know, like, okay, cool. As much superhero stuff as we have, we've got it. But it's going to play out. It's got, like, the thing is, you're going to have a couple years to be like, oh, these stories, you're going to set up these arcs. But basically, they're setting up these giant story arcs that have already been there. But you think about the arcs that have happened, there are not that many huge arcs. There are, but there's splinter stories that fall off. So the Secret Wars are coming up, the Skrull, and, you know, Captain Marvel, all of that. Okay, cool. You might move into House of M or something like that. But then after that, what do you really...
That you sync up to a degree with what's happening in the comics.
Yeah, so you're trying to catch up, but then, like you said, but
end
once
up writing...
get there...
My worry is you end up writing both at, like, the same time.
Which happens
for the movies.
Yeah, and that's what happens with anime and manga. Like, the reason you see, like, okay, there's a big pause here, there's a bunch of fillers. It's like, dude, they're still writing it, you know? Like, you caught up so hard that you're waiting for the new episode, or you're reading the manga, and you're like,
The movies, and I've probably said it before, is 100% the reason I think in the comics, they killed Wolverine.
Yeah.
Is why they got rid of the Fantastic. I mean, it wasn't selling super well, there's also that. But it's one of the reasons they didn't try to revamp it. They just... let it go. They kept some of those characters, but they didn't have a Fantastic Four title. They weren't making any new mutants.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those directions were due to the movies.
Yeah,
hey, we don't own those rights yet, so let's not pump those characters.
Exactly.
You can't not make those some of those titles, but
like you said, we have to reach a new place because eventually you're gonna run out of juice. And then, like I said, what I don't want for the nerddom so far, which is kind of on a little bit, not us fully as nerds, but some of our major points are kind of on the MCU and DC's back, kind of, sort of, about certain these things. And I hope they don't run into the DC problem where DC's like, oh snap, I need to catch up to Marvel and start doing what Marvel's doing. And then Marvel does so much stuff, it's like, okay, what's new? And DC's trying to follow, and then it's just stale.
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Okay,
I think
thank you.
Because we've discussed it.
Talk me off the ledge.
Joker. That's all I'm going to say. The new Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix movie. They're like, hey, wait a minute. Let's not make a big budget, flashy comic book movie. Let's make one that is character driven and about the character that has hopefully a solid story. Right? Is well performed.
Thank you, Jean-Luc. Oh my God, you brought me down. Because I was talking my way up into like some anxiety here.
I'm also going to take it back to what we started on. I'm going to give again the 2008 Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's performance. What an Oscar! It sold the Academy on the fact that that you could make a good superhero movie.
Oh, yeah.
Not just a good superhero movie, but a good superhero film.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. Oh, you can make compelling performances and stories in this genre. Okay, fine. You know what? You are a contender now.
Nice.
So
like
we
that.
as the industry are far more open to you.
Nice. So that's where we're going. Thank you, Jean-Luc. You see how Jean-Luc talked to everybody?
Did what I could. Yep.
Like my heart was like, I'm sweating and stuff. My
Wish
chest,
you
my
would
chest
come
all
back
the time.
from the we got to stop there because we don't own those rights.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
But
I mean,
next, no worries.
Save.
You know the song.
Jeez. Don't play. You know what it is.
Well, to one other interesting, separate, but idea I wanted to throw at you guys.
Okay.
Pretty small and simple, but I'm interested to get your thoughts.
Wait. We got time for that? Hold up now. Before you start dropping that magic, I need to know if we got time for Get Jiggly in it.
Oh, right now?
Hey.
In that case, we'll save it for later, you sons of guns.
Man, I'm about to say, hold up. Don't drop no heater, baby.
Yeah.
I need it.
Maybe we won't even do it.
Wait, hold up.
We'll just have a private conversation.
Don't listen to him, y'all. It's the honey. It got him all out of whack. You know what I'm saying?
And the lemon.
Oh, ooh, yeah, he doing it dirty this time. He cut a whole lemon in that thing. I seen it. That's what's up. Well, as always, we love you guys.
Appreciate you.
And we think you are amazing, all you humans.
Oh, also, don't forget to like right up here.
Yeah.
You right where I'm pointing. Also, subscribe over
where he's pointing. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. Over there. Yeah. Sorry.
Now you're going to obviously see where he's pointing with your heart. Obviously not with your eyes. Come now, guys.
I don't care what you see it with, as long as you see it with something.
Indeed.